Okay guys, this is a video for how to do an ANOVA if you have a Mac with Excel versions 2008 or 2011. If you have Excel 2016 for Mac, you should be able to add the data analysis add-in similar to how we did on the PC. I believe for 2016 you would go to Tools, add-ins, and then the data analysis add-in should be here. And I believe this also works if you have a really old version of Excel before 2008. But again, if you have 2008 or 2011, you'll need to download the third-party software called StatPlus and use that software to compute an ANOVA. And directions for how to download StatPlus for Macs are on Canvas if you haven't yet done that. So I have the spreadsheet for reaction time data that we collected during the first week of discussion. And I also have StatPlus up. And for StatPlus, as long as you have the most recent download of StatPlus, it didn't used to, but it now has its own spreadsheet, which makes things really easy. So what you want to do first is, with your reaction time data, let's copy and paste the first three columns. We don't need the last column with sex. So we can do Command C to copy, and then open up StatPlus again, and then we can do Command V to paste. And so now we have all the data in the StatPlus spreadsheet instead of our Excel spreadsheet. Next, you'll just want to click right here. It says ANOVA. That's what we want. So click on ANOVA, and we want a one-way ANOVA. And then over here, you should have all the columns, and the first three columns are filled in with our conditions. It's very simple. You just want to click on this first column, and then to select all of them, press Shift and select the last one. So you have all three columns selected. And then just press this arrow button. And now StatPlus knows exactly what columns we want to use for our ANOVA. And I believe similar to a PC, it works best if the columns are adjacent to each other in your spreadsheet. A few other things before we start the ANOVA. I want to make sure this button down here is selected that says Labels in first row. And then let's also go to Preferences. For StatPlus, they list the alpha level as a percent. So 5% is the same thing as an alpha level of 0.05. And I think it makes sense to save the results to a new worksheet. And I think everything else looks okay. So we can exit out of here, and we can press OK. And we will get the same ANOVA output that we did when we use the data analysis tool for a PC. So up here we have a summary for each condition, 77 in each condition, and then we have the means for each condition and the variances. Variance is, so the square root of the variance is the standard deviation. So if you want to compute standard deviation, you can just take the square root of this number. And then for the ANOVA output, there's a lot of numbers here. What you're most concerned about is the p-value. You could also look at the f and the f critical value. These are similar to your critical value in t-statistic when doing a t-test. But we're not going to worry about those. Just focus on the p-value and whether or not it's above or below your alpha level. So in this case, we had an alpha level of 0.05 and a p-value of 0.16. So because our p-value is above our alpha level of 0.05, we failed to reject the null. There is not enough evidence to say that there is any difference in reaction time between the three conditions. So for your homework, you're doing one ANOVA. For my classes, I use this reaction time data as my example. So whatever your GTF uses as an example, you cannot use that for your homework. So I would recommend, if we did this for an example, go into the class demographics file and come up with a way to have three groups in that output. So an easy thing would be to sort by GTF, since there's three GTFs, and then compare between between myself, Bryson, and Amanda. But you can divide it any way you like. You'll have your same thing as a t-test. You'll have your hypotheses, your report means, standard deviations, and your p-value. And then you'll have your conclusion statements. And there is a sample uploaded to Canvas to help you guys with how to format that. So I hope this was able to help. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact your GTF or TA for further assistance.